Hello, everybody. Hi. I'm happy to have you here today. Let's see if we can get this adjusted properly. I'm scrambling today. I've had quite a lot going on, but I'm happy that you're here with me and hope that you can hear me everything. I hope you brought questions and where you're from, and I hope that you will let me know what comments you have, what you have enjoyed about my channel, or what you may be missing about my channel. Anything that you want to say, I'm happy to have you do. It is, it's up to you to let me know if there's anything in particular that you would like to share with me, or whatever's going on. I just thought it's been a while, and the last time was Christmas, and after Christmas, I ended up in bed for almost 2 weeks. The universe conspires to bring things out of you, and for me, it took away my voice. I was coughing and sneezing, so obviously I picked up some kind of a little bug, and it took a long time. And actually, most of the time I slept, and so when I wasn't coughing and sneezing, I was drinking water, warm water, tea, and juice, and just trying to get over it. So I'm happy that you're here. Hopefully you can hear me, see me, and have joined me or will join me. And so today I thought you might want to know a little bit more about me. I get several questions about what I've done with my life, what kind of a person I am. I'm an unusual person, I can tell you that straight up. I am, I don't know, what do you want to say? I'm somebody who, I live alone, and that's because I was divorced around 2016, the end of 2016, and I find it, I don't know, what do I want to say, easier I had a counselor one time who said, what are you going to do when there's not chaos in your life? And I had no answer for her because my whole life had been chaos. I'm a softie. And however, I'm only hard on the outside. The exterior looks hard. And that's just because I have a lot of I want to say filters. Now, as I've aged, I certainly got much more open and accommodating and caring. I'm a kind and compassionate person, and I would do just about anything I can for you. But several years ago, my life really took a big change, a big turn of events, and I. Lots happened for me, and so anyhow, I walked away from the life that I had, and went into a dark night of the soul. Had some health challenges, and so anyhow, I want to welcome you here. Where I am right now is I am house sitting in the Cody, Wyoming area. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's cowboy country. And cowboy country is, it's not new to me because in 1990, due to a set of instructions I was given, I moved here and got a job, built a wonderful life for myself. And then when that was done, everything started to change. And that's really what my channel and what I talk about is all about. I am someone who, through my life experiences, lets you know what's going on, and how you can identify. It's all about finding the ways in which, when your life is going smoothly, you know that you're in harmony with your true self. And when you're swimming upstream and life is a little bit difficult, then you're not in harmony. And that's when your true self is trying to get your attention. And it means something needs to change. And that took me a long time to learn and to figure out, and it just came in stages. But that's how your inner compass, your inner guidance system works. And so once you get familiar with that, then you begin to say, what is going on here? How come I'm fighting with this? Why am I swimming upstream? How come it can't be easier? All of those different kinds of things. It means that your inner guidance system is nudging you. It's trying to get you to shift and to move and to say, don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. That isn't getting you where you want to go. If you want to get somewhere, you got to change what you're doing, how you're thinking, and look at things in a different way, look in a more positive direction. So that's really what this is all about. What I'm all about is because getting here was painful. It's not easy, and there have been a lot of changes. But once I sort of got the hang of it, then making changes comes easier. So I've had a lot of fun stuff going on in my life now. Like I say, I'm in cowboy country, and that means, four-wheel drive, cowboy hats, cowboy boots, a lot of guns, and this is hunting season. And when I first moved here in the 90s, I had a little trouble with that. And I still do to some extent. I'm not somebody who would carry a gun, but I did have a really dear friend who is wise about it. You use a gun out here to feed yourself or to help feed others. And in this day and age and economy and all of the things that are going on, and the disintegration of economics for most everybody, then it's important to be helpful to each other and to do as much as we can to be looking out for each other. And in fact, the neighbors across the street, come over and help. It's a really big property. It covers from an alley to another street, probably half a quarter of an acre, probably a half an acre. And there's lots of pine trees, so the pine cones get deep, and I can only do so much raking and shoveling. And otherwise, then, they came over and helped break them up. I raked them into piles over a week or so, and then they came and brought their kids and put them into bags for me, and that's pretty fabulous kind of a thing. So anyhow, and let's see, what do I do? So I am house sitting. I'm a caretaker, really, for a property of artisans, of individuals here who make Western things. And so, doing that means that I have some chores I have to tend to, and that gives me something to do. We're at night, we're down in the teens still. We went down to the 30s below with a wind chill factor, but I'm glad we're not doing that anymore. We're in the teens and we're going up into the 40s during the day, which means that the ice that had a chance to solidify, it's one of those things here If there was a way to preserve that, you could have ice practically year round. The springs and summers are just beautiful here, and the fall is lovely. Anyhow, so that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm pretty much a normal, typical person, but I do have a website. I do take appointments for spiritual guidance counseling, intuitive guidance, if you will. My specialties are death, grief, loss, dying, and compassion. However, I've been an intuitive and gave readings for years and years and years. I stopped doing that when it was difficult for me because people were asking the same questions over and over again and not really following the guidance. And at that point, it was like, I think there's something I would be better suited to. And I still am very good at what I do. Us Pisces, water signs are amongst the most intuitive, and I really value that. One of the things that, if we go backwards into my career, I was an acting data management coordinator for a number of years for a large city, and in doing so, during that time, you get to utilize all of your brain functions, right? I mean, you're logical, linear, rational, reasonable, and during that time, towards the end of it, I began being, how do I want to say, having more intuitive kinds of things. And one of the things that was going on was I was being steered to move out of that job. And of course, I had, if you follow along on my channel and the experiences that I have, then you would know that that's one of the things that got me to move and to shift and to create that shift was guidance from Source. So I wanted to visit with you a little bit about that today, because not my experience so much, but your own. When you have nudgings, I just call them nudgings, like I was saying earlier, if you're swimming upstream, then that is a clear sign that you need to stop right where you're at. Take a look at it. What are you doing that maybe you've been doing repeatedly? Where are you headed? Is there somebody you're doing it with, to or for? Because it took me a long time to learn how to say no when somebody asked me to do something. So you just have to look at these signs, stop yourself, just like do a pause, hit the pause button and say, what am I doing? What's going on here? And as soon as you can begin to, I'm going to close that curtain a little bit, begin to pause and become an observer of your own feelings, your own thoughts, your own, maybe I can do this. Then you have an opportunity to create a shift or a change. You have an opportunity to say, I think I see what's going on here. And once you do that and can begin monitoring your thoughts as well, because thoughts are things, and when whatever we're thinking is what we're bringing into our lives. It's into our worlds. Anyhow, you've heard me say all those things, and you can go back into my channel for some of the videos to just kind of see if there's a topic or something that resonates with you. And if there's something that you want to talk about here today, I'm happy to do that. I'm going to just shift this. I completely forgot to change this. It's just a little too bright. So let's see if that makes a difference. Not by much. Hang on just a sec. Did we go the wrong direction? Here we go. See if that's a little better. So, what are you up today? What do you want to know? Do you have any questions or comments? Are you curious about anything? One of the things I wanted to talk about today was karma. Now that may or may not be a topic, a word you've even heard of before. But I want you to know, well, let's start with what's going on the planet in us right now. Now, I'm kind of, I've got stuff all around me because it's been cold and I'm getting over stuff. So I look probably like a teddy bear all bundled up here. And I am just trying to stay warm. So what's going on in the planet is something known as ascension. The ascension of its humanity, and it has to do with us becoming conscious humans. So conscious, you think you're conscious, well, there's another level of consciousness that the universe is after. When I say the universe, it is God, your source, our creator, whatever term or language you want to use is what you ought to use. And in the case of who we are, where we are, what we're doing right now, there are energies that are flooding the planet, and those are frequencies. Those energies are frequencies. We're energy systems. If we hooked you up, now this has changed, and I don't know Dr. Young's research anymore, but Dr. Robert Young is someone who, for it's been more than 20 years now, has provided information on the hertz that the human body operates at, and when we eat, whether that's lowering the frequency or whether it's raising the frequency. And as such, he's developed a diet plan, if you will, for humans that says we should be our pH in the blood, which you know is when you eat food, that's what it's breaking it down, and it's enriching your cells. The nutrients are being distributed to where they're needed in the body, and you're either rebuilding or you're breaking down. And if you're not eating, or if you're not eating the right things, then the body has to take it from internally, from inside of us, to feed the cells that are needed to maintain, restore, or rebuild, or whatever's going on there in order to keep you going. And so the blood pH should be at 7.365. Now this is 20-year-old information almost. It is 20 years old. So this may have changed a little bit, but if you realize that 7.0 is neutral. So if you have a pool or if you have a fish tank, then you'll know that 7.0 is neutral. That is, if you go a little bit above it into 7.1, 2, 3, then that's a little more alkaline. If you go below it, go below the 7 down into the 6s, you are getting into the range that is acid. And so with that in mind, your diet needs to have foods that are alkalizing in order to keep a blood pH around 7.365. So that may be new to you and it may not be. In order for that to now, the reason I say that is because frequency driven, right? Your food is frequency, rocks have frequency, and we have frequency. So that was some of the research. And if you wanted to look him up, it's Dr. Robert O. Young. Now he is in part responsible for the change in the food pyramid 15, 20 years ago. So there's going to be lots of information on him. He also has a wealth of information about toxicity in our foods, and what's happening in terms of whether you're organic or you have foods that are being engineered and all that kind of stuff. Anyhow, he's a really interesting fellow and somebody that is worth looking into. Now, the reason I just, we digressed a little bit into because of frequency is what I'm talking about. We have this inner guidance system. We have an inner system that's connected with our creator. You have an inner light. And that light is, not everybody is aware of it. And for some it's dim, and for others it's really bright. And you can tell that with people whose lights are really bright. They're happy, uplifting, cheerful. You want to be around them. You want to know what they're doing or what they have, you want to know how and you can do that too. So anyhow, what's happening on the planet is the frequencies are raising, and that just means your light is growing. So it's going from a candle to, let's say one of these LED lights behind me. It's now becoming more steady, brighter, and over time it's going to keep growing. And Edgar Cayce, whom I just adore, I've been studying his work since the 70s, called this time in humanity's expression, this is my term, my words for it, humanity's experience, humanity's expression, it's called the re-spiritualization of humanity. And what that means to me, and should mean to you too, is that you're a spiritual being. You started that way as a child of God, as our child of our creator. You have that spark of the divine within you. That is the light that I'm talking about. And that we originally we're souls having a human experience. Our human experience is beginning to shift and change and become more spiritual. And that just means our emphasis, our focus is shifting away from, this third dimensional existence that we're having. So what that means to me, I remember, and you've heard me say this, and this would be 20 years ago, but I didn't understand it then, but as time progressed, I've learned more about it. I was standing outside and there were stars. It might even have been the time of, I can't remember, was it Bohop or something, was a comet that was passing by. And I was, wondering about, who I am, what my place in the world was, what I should be doing. I knew I wasn't doing work that was permanent. It was temporary work for me. And I heard directly in my ear. And I also had a knowing that it was coming from Jesus, who is just like a brother to me. But I heard, look at the lilies of the field and the birds of the air. Do they toil or sweat to be what I created them to be? And then there was a pause. It was like, are you any less than the least of these? And it was one of the moments in which change began to occur in me, that I was hearing in a way, not in the ear, but within, and then you feel it in here, but your whole body is resonating to it. In fact, there's a vibration that goes along with these communications. But it's saying to me, who do you turn to first? So most of us are caught in this afraid to trust in God, afraid to trust in that guidance, afraid to trust in that wisdom that we're being given, afraid to, step away from, I think I need to do this in order for that to happen. And I can tell you, for some, I'm a black sheep in the family because I started to do that. I actively began to incorporate the what I'm just going to call spiritual principles. I've studied Buddhism, all the major religions, Judaism, and they all point back to the same thing. There's one God. There is one God. And so why are we not trusting that? Well, because we've not been trained to. And so within us is this inner guidance system, this compass that says, when you trust, all will be well. You will be well. All is well. And so I said, okay. And at some point I said, okay, I'm just going to trust this. And that's when you begin, or I began, incorporating the spiritual laws into my life. So, I wanted to know, well, what's a spiritual law? So then somebody gives me a book by, I think, was it Deepak Chopra, called The Seven Spiritual Laws? And then I got a book by Miguel Ruiz, the Four Agreements. Now, these are principles it isn't that you don't follow the Bible's 10 Commandments. You need to do that. But you see, you have to go one step higher to get actually to our Creator. And it's our birthright as children of our Creator to have a one-on-one relationship. And you do develop discernment. I had a couple of times when I thought something was coming from the source, and it sort of backfired. And so that was when the word discernment came into my vocabulary. You have to learn how to discern what it is you're listening to and how to find out whether it's trustworthy or not. And so I gotta prop this up because something's not going right here. Anyhow, I hope you understand what I'm saying. We're spiritual beings having this physical experience, and so the energies and frequencies that are flooding the planet are designed to have us begin shifting into questioning our current existence, what we're believing in, what we're following. And I can tell you, if it's fear-based, it's not coming from our Creator. It's a man-made thought. It's a man-made thing. It's something that has nothing to do with our true frequency, our true inner compass, our true, what our Creator wants for us. It's only going to lead you down a bumpy road. And so that's really, what I wanted to say about that. There's lots more that can be said, and I do hope that you are, beginning to feel that there's changes going on in your mind, in your life. These are chaotic times. Our freedoms are being challenged. I'm a sovereign being. I don't know about you. Well, you are too. But learning about that and what to do about it is what's important, right? You are a sovereign being of our Creator, and as such, if we follow the guidance that we're getting, and it's right now, it's obvious. Like I said, fear is something that is not of our Creator. It's the making of someone, something that you're thinking, believing, following that is not serving a useful purpose. In fact, it's harming you. Fear holds us in a fenced-in place, and you're not a fenced-in person. You may have a job that you're going to every day, and you may not like it, but are you looking for another work while you're doing that? Or do you feel like you're cheating on your boss on a job that you don't even like if you're looking for something that's more suitable for you? But those are the nudges. If it's fear-based, if it's anger-related, if there's a betrayal involved, if there is any kind of fear, worry, upset, anger, those are all outside of the creator source possibilities, right? So those are the things that are saying to stop, pause, and let's look over here. Let's look at it for a minute. Let's move over here. And so I haven't, I'm a little unusual in that I have believed in God forever and ever and ever. I don't know why. And I've challenged that a time or two, like, what's happening to me? And are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing this to me, right? Well, that's the other thing, is now getting back to, what's important here is that we're creating it. So if I'm staying stuck in it, that's up to me. I'm the one that gets to change it. I'm the sovereign being here. And now if I need guidance. But the thing that you have that we've all been given is this body. This body resonates with whether you're happy, joyful, or if that seems right. Maybe I'll go over here and try that. And it likes things that are like, stir your interest, and all of a sudden you've peaked, and now you're sitting up a little straighter instead of slumping down. That's your body tells you, I'm happy or I'm not. I'm happy, sad, happy, hurt, happy, angry, happy, or joyful. And so, when you're in something that isn't feeling good, the best thing to do is to stop and pause. You can even turn around for a minute, or just close your eyes for a minute and say, for me, it's my grandson. It's like, how are you? Oh, I'm so happy. It's like I can see you in my mind's eye, and he's the happiest little guy, and he does some of the funniest stuff. And I've been sent some of the videos that I just play repeatedly if I'm down in the dumps, because it's like he just lifts you right up. And I know we all have at least a handful of those moments in our lives that we can rely on. So that's that. Okay, and then I wanted to talk with you a little bit about karma. Okay, and so that's kind of where all this started and was leading to. Now, you may have heard of that word, and you may not have, and that's okay. We're in a time in our expression when we choose to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to feel bad. I'm not going to be hurt or angry, because those things only harm you. The cells in our body respond with frequencies that are high. When you're laughing and you're happy and things are just joyful, my little grandson, I'll just tell you, my son sent me a video when he's toddling, so he was probably headed towards age 2 or so, and he had a little Lion King, probably like something you get into when you get out of the bath, right? They actually bathe him, put on this thing and dry him off or so, and then they took a tube of probably paper towels or some kind of a roll that a picture was in or something, made him a scepter and taught him how to march around in circles and tap with his hand. So they were videotaping that, and the thing came off. and he went to pick it up, but it was backwards, and he put it on like this, and he went, huh, you could pull that off, and it was like, now what do I do? And it was just the cutest moment, and you can see it makes me smile every time, and every time I smile, you feel a little bit of uplift, even from where you are. And it may only last a few seconds, but that's what we're looking for. We're looking to break that cycle of the pattern that's going on. And so that's what I'm saying. This is a time in humanity's expression where we get to break karma, but you have to choose, because the acknowledging the God within us, that connection is within us. Acknowledging that requires our will, and the will center of the human is here. It's within. It's within this area of our body. It's all, everything that is not fear driven. As long as it is a frequency that is harmonious with who you are, and you feel good, then your energy is right where it needs to be, and you're going to be happy most of the time. Now, how many of you are happy in the jobs that you have, happy in the relationships that you have, happy with yourself? And the first order of business is being happy with yourself. You need to, I very rarely say you need to. It is imperative that you love yourself first. Everything else flows freely from there. And I have to tell you, none of us has a manual. We're all kind of taking these steps through life, from here to over there, and not knowing sometimes where I'm at or what I'm doing, or I used to trudge around because, I had all these things at work that made no sense to me. It was like, why do we need to do this? Well, anyhow, when you're taking those walks and they're heavy, footsteps are heavy, it's the wrong frequency. And so you get to shift it by stopping for a minute, put yourself in a little happier place, do an uplift, and just say to you, do the uplift to find whatever that joyful place is, and say, I have to be here, so I may as well enjoy it. But let's start thinking about what would make me happiest in work for me to do. And it's important that you do that. So karma, which used to be us meeting ourselves, it still means that. So if I'm mean or nasty or ugly to somebody, at some point down the road in my life, I have to meet that again in myself. It means somebody's going to treat me badly because I treated them badly, or utilize that. And there's all kinds of things when I look out at this. It's lovely, and it lifts me up. I have, it's like a 5 or 6 foot long bird feeder, 8 feet, and so the birds come, and when a predator comes and they all sort of they're gone, it's like, and I hate to go out to the back where the compost is, because that's where the predators take them. I'm out here in the front, they're out there in the back having lunch, and it's like, I know it's nature and it's all part of it. So karma is that whatever you've done is important for you to forgive yourself for. Because if you learn from it, if you've learned compassion, if you've learned kindness, if you've learned love, if you have learned, to be, it's not just sorry, but it is have an intention of, it's that deep sorrow. How could I do that? How could I be that way? With the intention to grow and learn from it, then you've set a new foundation stone over the path that you've come from, and you're changing your path. You're changing your direction. You're moving and shifting in a completely different way. And so karma, what's happening is the energy that's flooding the planet now is that if we use our will to come into alignment with the things that are higher frequency generated, love, compassion, kindness, cooperation, harmony, peace, truth, trust. Those are all God frequencies. Those are all higher frequencies that when we utilize those to drive our lives, then we are building a closer walk with our Creator. And that's what this life is all about. So, you can, karma really basically is being forgiven right now. But if a person isn't willing really to change anything about who they are and to remain in anger or resentment or fear, or, if they've been betrayed, they're likely to betray somebody else because that's the internal mechanism that's buried, that's hidden. And so it's up to you, as reclaim your freedoms, your freedom to choose, but choose wisely. Choose the things that are in alignment, in harmony with a closer walk with God, with a planet that we want to be at peace, in harmony, that there's love and joy, and that we're working together. Find ways to branch out into your community and to find a way to help. I've always volunteered for years and years and years. I have volunteered my time, and at one point I was a regional coordinator for 5 states, and that job did not pay a thing. It got me to where I needed to go if I had to go someplace, because it paid those kind of bills, but that was all volunteer work, and it was hours and hours and hours. And I love every minute of it. When you get to do something that you love, you thrive. You really do thrive. You're like somebody, you planted yourself in good, rich soil, and you're tending to yourself. That's what I think about how you are and how we are as humans. So being a good steward of yourself means learning to love yourself. And learning to love yourself means forgiving yourself first. We don't have manuals. Actually, the manual is within us. That's what I was saying earlier. It's this body that lets you know whether it's happy or not. And you get to change according to you pausing and taking a look at it. What is your prevailing thought? What is your prevailing feeling? And I can tell you, God's a creator, right? So lots and lots, this whole existence in this human form is all about logical, linear, rational thinking. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you to kind of throw that out here. God's a creator. Create. Your inspired thoughts come from your heart. From your heart, and all of a sudden you feel it here, and it goes up into your mind, and you're thinking, what can I do with this? Isn't this exciting? And it doesn't matter if you're a cook, or you're a painter, or you are a teacher, or you're somebody like me who is inspiring, trying to inspire and uplift others, who's giving the best advice I can intuitively as to what your guidance sees for you. That's my work, is, to help you out of a sticky place that maybe you're stuck in, you don't know how to get out of. But you have to realize that it is in uplift and not in being following necessarily a logical path. If you're not happy and you're not, we all got to eat, we all got to pay the rent. I get that. I get it. No, like nobody's business. I get that. I live on very almost nothing, but the prevailing thing is just because you have to do that doesn't mean you can't be happy while you're doing it, right? So it's you making, creating that shift for yourself, finding out where you're stuck, where your feet are sticky, where your mind is sticky. Maybe it's a thought that, I will tell you that for me, I was raised Catholic. And I'm from an old world Italian household. So can you imagine when I didn't want to be Catholic anymore? what that did? I still love, and I will tell you, I enjoy it immensely, is the Christmas Mass. The Catholics know how to elevate, God to this high place, and to take you with it, with their music and some of the ritual. But it doesn't mean I'm going to practice their teachings anymore. It's just not for me. So when you make a change and your family says, well, what are you doing? How come you're not going to do that anymore? You don't even have to explain, because at the time it was just like, it just doesn't fit for me anymore. I don't feel right doing it. That's all. I mean, it's just not, you don't even have to have a reason as far as I'm concerned. It's your life. It's your beingness. Your being has to be happy. And so that's what you're striving for. And if I can help in any way with that, my website's listed below and you can reach me there, or you can call me, get in touch with me and we'll talk one-on-one. Anyhow, so that's the first thing, karma, which is you meeting yourself. You'll continue to do that unless you start making those necessary changes that move you into, I just call it being co-creator mode. When you're happy, when you are, the ideas are free flowing, when you're joyful and helping others and cooperating and being just in this harmonious place, you are being a co-creator and you're bringing more light. Your light goes from this little dull, dim candle to begin illuminating, and pretty soon it's lighting up the whole space. Okay, so that's karma. And then I think the last thing I really wanted to spend a few minutes talking about is your health. So we've talked about the mind, and now let's talk a little bit about the body. And so I trained for, now big switch for me, right? I trained for 2 years at the Association for Research and Enlightenment in Virginia Beach, Virginia. It's a marvelous, marvelous place, but this was a whole new aspect to my beingness. And in fact, I haven't gotten to those chapters yet in the book, but this was a real switch for me when I knew I needed to go to massage school. Now, I had been the acting data management coordinator for a couple of years before I went to Wyoming, and through that guidance, spent 4 years there. That was the balancing of the right and left hemispheres of the brain. I did, what is it? I can't think of the name of it now. It's a testing out of Boston to see, what parts of your brain you're using and how much, whatever. They said you're 50-50 in your brain. You're using equal parts of your brain. So creativity, once you turn it into action, means that you're using it. Your logic changes. Your logic shifts into creator mode. So you're taking your ideas and putting them out there. It's like this. One brother said to me after I had been the data, we're talking a lot of people in this big city where I was, a manager of sorts, and I say of sorts because that's like eons ago, and it was, I don't know how to tell you. Anyhow, it doesn't matter, right? After you change and start shifting, the past is behind you, and those are footsteps, right? Building you up to go up this way. Anyhow, so after that, I had one of my brothers, who's a doc, said to me, I said, I'm really not sure what I want to do. I said, I've been thinking about becoming a physical therapist because body sort of interested me. And he said, oh, no. He said, you need something you can take with you wherever you go. And he said, you might consider becoming a massage therapist. And I looked at it and I thought, a massage therapist, my concept of that was, well, I guess it wasn't the healthiest at the time. It was something, I'm not sure what it was. It just, I didn't know enough about it. And so he said, no, he said, I think I can see you, going any place you want to go and being able to do that work. Anyhow, it stuck with me. And I did end up right away contacting the ARE, that Association for Research and Enlightenment. It's an Edgar Cayce facility. And there they have the world's largest metaphysical library. It encompasses like 2/3 of the second story of their building, and meditation and healing and a whole health services center and education and reaching out to the public and all kinds of things. Anyhow, they've got a big school there, and that came into my mind very quickly, and so I contacted them and had them send the literature. Now, at the same time, I'm thinking about all these different schools I lived on the West Coast, and so I'm looking up and down the Interstate 5 corridor and as far over as Denver for different kinds of schools. And the ARE materials came, the health services stuff came. And so, I looked at it and went through it, but I thought, your mind starts playing tricks on you and saying, why would you want to go 4,000 miles away when you can find something within 500 or 1,500 miles? Denver's far enough away. But and so I started looking along the closer to where I lived. It just seemed like a huge transitional thing to go do. And so anyhow, I started out to go to go to the health services, and then I realized, you just got to do something closer. And interestingly, I had booked a couple of interviews along an area, a stretch up to 150 miles away from me, and missed my turn. Now, what I want to tell you is what's funny about that is that I was, as a data management coordinator, it had to do with the transit division of the city. And we were responsible for all kinds of things, buses, routes. I knew everything inside down, upside down, inside and backward. And so I chuckled at first. I pulled off the first place I could, found a little parking area where I could just sit there for a minute. And I just sat there and I said, what just happened here? And in my inner guidance, in fact, I saw Edgar Cayce leaning up against a tree, and he said to me, have you forgotten the ARE? And I just had to chuckle. I said, no, I have not. So that was my confirmation to turn around, go home, and get my application in, and I canceled mine. my other appointments, and ended up going to them, where I did all kinds of things. But I can tell you, when the universe wants you to be doing something, it happens, and it happens easily. There, I went to school. I was number 282 therapist, or number 282 therapist when I graduated. In their health center, but I wanted to stay and keep taking classes, and I did. I went and became all kinds of things during that time. I did hydrotherapy and nutrition, and I became a colon hydrotherapist. I did learned many different types of massage, and I became really fascinated with the body because I knew nothing about it. And I had a battered and beaten body, and I got used a lot in class. Yeah, so what you want to work on this one? Let's see. You have so many choices. It was really, and for me, it was kind of funny because, being upright and mobile makes you feel like you can do anything. But I had a pretty distorted body. But anyhow, I stayed there and became a lot of things. A Reiki master teacher, and it was one of the things. So energy worker, and when I left there, they called me healer, and so I do remote healing now too. So you can contact me about that. But what I want to say is, when you're swimming with the current, then you're just floating along. You're not even having to swim very hard. I'm a really good swimmer, but when you're swimming upstream, it is the biggest effort, and your body becomes depleted. Your mind becomes depleted because the effort is so great and so strong. You're not utilizing all of your skills and talents where they belong. And that's this time in humanity's expression where you get to choose to switch it up, switch over to being happier, switch over to learning what it is that will bring you happiness and contentment and a fulfilling experience in your life. And the next time we'll talk about some of the remedies that I learned, because I'm in my 74th year. And when I moved here to the high mountain desert, within 4 or 5 weeks, I got a bloody nose that even the EMTs in the hospital had a hard time bringing into control, right? Up until that point, the last time I was in a hospital for myself was when my son was born, and he's 48 years ago. And so what I want to say to you is, my medicine cabinet has natural things in it, things like castor oil, things like Epsom salt, things like apple cider vinegar, not necessarily to drink, but to use for around your body for strains and sprains. Almonds, 3 almonds a day, and you would never fear cancer. But we have to, our food source has changed a lot, so you want to be looking towards organics in order to make sure you're staying healthy. So anyhow, that's me. Body, mind, and spirit all have to be incorporated in with who you are in order for you to have a remarkable and wonderful life. And thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Liking and subscribing are the things that make me available out there into the world. And I do have a different approach to life. It starts from getting to know your source and then working into your life in a new and profound and wonderful, wonderful ways. I want to thank you with all my heart. As I do with the end of every video, I love you this much. Now, how do they do that? They turn it around like this. And these arms go all the way around you. They go around the earth, and you, if you close your eyes, you can feel that energy of love and light going around you and into your being. Be good stewards of each other, yourself, and this planet. And until we meet again, stay safe, be well, be happy, and know that you are a divine being of light. You are my family of light, and I love you so much. So until the next time I see you, know that you're way more than you think you are, because you indeed are a child of our Creator. Thank you for joining me today.